We have Indian teachers who taught in Bhutan earlier, 43 of them, who traveled all the way to be with us today. And to you, I wish you a happy Teachers' Day. Every year, on May 2nd, we celebrate Teachers' Day in Bhutan. This year is special as it coincides with the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between our neighbor India and Bhutan. The history of modern education in Bhutan is closely linked. It is intertwined with the history of partnership and friendship between India and Bhutan. The history of modern education in Bhutan started in 1914, when His Majesty the First King, Gosa Ugyen Wangchuk, established the first modern school in Bhutan in Ha. He invited Lyonpo Tshering, who was teaching in Kalimpong at that time. A year later, in 1915, His Majesty the First King opened our second school in Pumtang. Again, Lyonpo Tshering and Joseph Stein, also from Kalimpong, helped establish that school. By 1918, we had 5 teachers from Kalimpong teaching in Bhutan. Incidentally, in 1932, former Chief Justice Lyonpo Tshering Tobgay's own father, Babu Tashi, opened the school during His Majesty the Second King's time in Pumtang. So the beginnings of modern education in Bhutan were indeed very humble. In fact, in 1962, when His Majesty the Third King, the father of modern Bhutan, started the first 5-year development plan in Bhutan, we had only 11 schools and just 400 students. Today we have 604 schools, many more schools than we had students at that time. And we have 170,000 students. Basically, every child in Bhutan who should be in school is in school. This achievement in one generation is unprecedented anywhere in the world. This success is because of the determination of our visionary monarchs, the love for their people, the hard work of our kings, and the many sacrifices that they have made. It is also because of the support and friendship of our friend and neighbor, India. This is why today's special ceremony was commanded specifically by His Majesty the King. His Majesty the King commanded that this year's Teachers' Day celebration must be special. It must be special to thank our beloved teachers. It must be special to thank all our former Indian teachers. And this celebration must be special to celebrate the friendship between India and Bhutan. I want to acknowledge the guidance of former Chief Justice Lyonpo Tshering Tobgay, the guidance he had provided in putting together this event. I also want to thank the Education Minister, Lyonpo Nobu Wangchuk, Education Secretary Karma Ishe, the directors, the many officials who have worked towards putting this event together in the ministry, in the Dzongkhag, and in the Thomde. A big thank you to all of you. I know many of you students have worked very hard to put this event together. So we have 43 former teachers from India among our midst today. Thank you very much for joining us. Many more wanted to be here today. Hundreds more wanted to join us today, but it was not possible to accommodate all our former teachers because of logistics. And so we have had to disappoint many. But I am privileged to announce today that His Majesty the King has commanded that a separate event be held later this year in India, at which all our former teachers who have taught in Bhutan could be invited. And we celebrate together the good work that you have done for us in India. To the 43 Indian teachers who have made it here, thank you for making this journey here. I know how tired some of you are here, but thank you for coming all the way here and giving us, your students, the opportunity to thank you in person. You are the guest of honors today. In today's celebration, you are the chief guests. Among our former teachers, the 43 of them, the oldest is Mr. R. Krishnan, 86 years old. Thank you, sir. Mr. R. Krishnan came to Bhutan in 1962. So that was before I was born, several years before I was born. When he came to Bhutan, he trekked from Samduzongkha through Dewatang, Tashigang, Tashiangsi to Lhunsi. That trek took him all of 22 days. And when he got to Lhunsi, there were no shops. He couldn't buy ration. He had to go to the Dzongkhag administration to collect his ration every month. He didn't have piped water. He had to go with the villagers to the stream to collect his drinking water. And he had to go with the villagers because there was a threat of wild animals. Obviously, he didn't have electricity. He had to cook on a fire stove and used pine fatwood, mepchi, to light his home at night. In spite of all these difficulties, Mr. Krishnan stayed in Bhutan for 31 years. He taught in Lhunsi, Womrong, Shaba, and Phuntsling. Thank you, sir. Also in 1962, again before I was born, Mr. M.K.G. Kaimal, he arrived in Bhutan. Today he is 79 years old. He taught for 33 years in Jagar, Tongsa, and Yanchifu. Mr. Kaimal can speak better Dzongkha than me, better Sangla than me, better Pumtapkha than me, and better Lhosamkha than me. He is representative of a very important trait among all the Indian teachers who taught in Bhutan. They did not impose your culture on us. Instead, the Indian teachers respected our culture, absorbed our culture, and practiced our culture. I must admit, I wanted to learn more from Mr. Krishnan and Mr. Kaimal and all the others yesterday, because I wanted to know about my country before I was born. But I didn't get the opportunity to meet them yesterday. Even at 9 p.m., they were not at home. They were with their beloved students at different restaurants in Thimphu, and they got home only after 9. Among the 43, we have 13 lady teachers. And among them, an example is Sister Leonard Palakhan, who's 83 years old. Sister, Sister Leonard Palakan is here with Sister Helen, and they embody another very important trait of the Indian teachers. None of them tried to proselytize their students. Instead, they encouraged us to be true to our own religion and to our own spirituality. Thank you very much. Bhutan has also given former Indian teachers something back, because many of the former teachers married while they were in Bhutan, and I would like to think that they met their life partners in Bhutan. Among the teachers who have arrived here with us, we have 10 separate couples. So I would like to imagine that they met their partners in Bhutan and set up their lives in Bhutan. But yes, they did dedicate their lives to Bhutan. They had the children here, and many spent all of their prime lives in Bhutan. An example, for instance, of the 43 teachers who are present here, 19 of them have taught in Bhutan for more than 30 years. An example is Mr. Yogendra Yamdagni. Mr. Yamdagni joined her junior high school in 1980, and he spent 38 years teaching in Bhutan. Thank you so much, sir. I can't do justice to the 43 teachers who are here. I can't obviously do justice to the services rendered by the thousands of Indian teachers who have made sacrifices in their service to Bhutan. But through you, I want to thank all former Indian teachers who have taught in Bhutan, who have dedicated their lives to the service of the Bhutanese people. In conclusion, I want to offer my sincere prayers on this, our Teachers' Day, on which we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between India and Bhutan. I want to offer my sincere prayers that the friendship between our two great nations, Bhutan and India, grow from strength to strength and become a role model to the entire world.